Yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. One moment. One moment. Am I cool? Momento momoi. Or something like that. I don't know.
Let's get going. Give voice, you tars.
Come all you young sailormen, listen to me. I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea. Stormy weather, boys, when the wind blows, we're all together, boys, blow ye with westerly, blow ye with blow. Jolly sou'wester, boys, steady,
Ease up.
jumps the
Cannons, royals, furl.
lines up, hey.
Got in the train.
Oh, me where ba da ba 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 ba.
Starve on land or drown at sea. That's the devil's bargain.
That's the devil's bargain. Stormy weather, but
Loose some sail, we move!
Sail off the loose mates!
Ease her off! Crew up, foremast rig!
Party now,
That's
my
enough for
chums.
now.
I'd not haze you. Captains to the briny!
Oh, me wherever the head. Da.
Baba Booey.
Shredder! The Shredder is here. We have to run now. He's coming after us. He's going to destroy. He's going to destroy the ship. We must get out of here. He's here to get us. Oh my goodness. Stormy weather, da 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 da. Oh my god, you can turn around. Turn now. The brig. So is this realistic? Is this very realistic brig? Or not? I don't think brigs had battering rams. Right?
Give me more sail!
Sail off on the fore, come on! It should be nearby, Captain.
Should be nearby.
Alright, Jack, sing!
Strike the cap.
Enough, thanks!
I see the wonder for me. I see it one for me. Not usually. Most pirate vessels are making battering rams which have been known all the way back in the time of the rumor that they ram to their boats. Yes, battering rams were a thing during the on the ships during the past, maybe. Whoa, that's a big convoy over there. A Spanish fleet. Windy leather, but so and weather, bum 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 bum. Yeah! Windy weather! Yeah, it's a convoy, I thought so. Oh, I've got 50 seconds before it despawns. Who knew? They sure were, I do believe it's just... Yes! Yes. Greeks... No, I thought the Athens... No, the Greeks invented the battering rams. Because of, yeah. Man the cannons! Prepare for war! Prepare to battle! Prepare!
Unreef the mains.
They're off. Do not leave them muzzled.
Clew up the foremast main.
Anchor ahoy.
Starboard, Captain.
Prepare for battle! Shredder, who would win in a battle? The Roman Empire, like from the swords and that, like their better armor, whatever century I'm talking about, whatever, like the late Roman Empire versus the English 17th century England muskets. Like the gunpowder, or no, the 18th century, like, you know, like the American Revolution British soldiers. Who would win? Who would win? Because once you use a bullet, the Romans will have the advantage and run up and stabby stab and all sorts. It depends on the numbers. Even the numbers, easily the muskets Roman would move down, and assuming they wouldn't immediately break formation due to morale, getting to melee would also not be very pleasant because the bayonets exist. Also, musketeers had sidearms, melee weapons, and most of the time. But they have no armor. So if a Roman is able to get a stab in one of them, they won't last.
Up the shrouds, lads. We sail.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Ease the mains off the wind.
Crowd on all the sail we have.
Full sail. Crowd it all.
Reef the mains. Clew up gallants.
But infantry lines, if I remember correctly, like they don't have flintlock pistols. I thought they were only given rifles and bayonets with the rifles. It's a fishing village.
Filthy vermin.
Yeah, I thought so. Because the infantrymen are given just rifles which can then attach bayonets to be used as melee weapons. So they're kinda very... I mean, they got power, but the reload is slow, and so let's say a line of infantrymen gets, what, a lot of Romans, but then the Romans are able to push forward and take out the ones reloading. Unless they utilize 3 lines properly, like the first line shoots, goes back, the second line shoots, waits until the pretty much a constant reload to make sure the next line fires in time, so the Romans can't push. That's why firearms are a thing, yes. Generally, armored or not, charging into a muscle line is historically a very terrible idea. Okay. So, theoretically, the Romans would learn that's a bad idea, so they would, what? They would use a new tactic. Could the Roman shields withstand a musket shot, or would they upgrade their shields to be more resilient? I wonder, because obviously everyone's human, we're not bloody apes. Oh no, he's got a gun! I can't advance my equipment! So you would think the Romans would adapt. They would upgrade their armor. They'll even start stealing muskets from the battlefield. They might even start learning to use muskets. Yeah. Oh, there's a pestilence here. Rats!
They died without ever sending the letter.
How the fuck do rats get on an island? They freaking swim ashore or something? Like, damn. Bastards are... Bastard rats are resilient. Ugh, everywhere. Because I've been writing a book on... The reason I'm saying this is I've been writing my own book on what would happen if the 18th century British Empire managed to swip time... swip... No. The Roman Empire... No. had, I think what I'm trying to do is that give them the ability to have their cities and Rome cities get entwined in the same planet, meaning like there's Rome on the 18th century Earth, and there's like London on the on like I don't know, like they have 44 settled cities and bases. We're not prepared for gunfire. Cavalry might work. Romans would stand a chance in ambush fights. They could overmaneuver the enemies, but if they were given up 3 at a time, armor wing. Because of how fortifications were improved, simple form made out of crossed, sharpened logs completely invalidated very expensive horsemen as far as existed, so did cannons. I mean, they still had dragoons. Dragoons on horsemen, like horsemen with muskets. And her cavalry was pretty used during the 18th century. It was still used by the by the all musket nations. It was more for like outmaneuvering, because obviously they could go into a square formation and get the horses, but I feel like the Romans would adapt and they would start using the same tactics the British Empire would use, but they will also combine their tactics. Like they'll probably continue using archers and crossbows and javelins, but in a different way. And they'll probably even utilize the new fortifications that their world they stumbled upon. And they'll probably learn more about this world they weren't supposed to enter. Yeah, misplaced. All of Rome misplaced in the 18th century. I'm gonna say like like the moments before Rome fell, every Roman citizen, soldier, and I don't know, anyone that was fighting for Rome gets displaced before the barbarians arrive to Rome. So I'm probably what? No, maybe when Rome had a lot more, maybe like I don't know. Yes, mounted were more or less precursors. Become tanks and early. Yeah. Did I get everything from here? I think what? So, yeah. I'm trying to write in how they will appear in the 18th century, just as the British Empire has just had a recent rebellion with the Americans and they lost. And they're still a powerful empire. They still got like, So, I'm trying to think how would I place the Romans, like, as they get displaced when they're at their full might, before they start declining from barbarian attacks and just, I think, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them to be because, they're not like, NPCs where they won't learn to adapt to fight the British. Every Roman is human, same as the British, so they will learn to adapt. I guess the British will learn to adapt to fight the Romans. They start using, archery is like mortar archery, like they start flying arrows in the sky. Which I thought about, like longbowmen shooting arrows into a fort instead of using mortars. That would be very useful, like just having volleys of arrows weakening a British fort because most of the infantrymen are inside the fort. Yeah, I guess more like they would not replace the Italian people, but they would an island similar the same size as Rome would appear on the coast of England. Not too close, but close enough for England to notice. Like displaced Rome, pretty much. And the conflict between Rome and England, or the old Rome, beckons. Damn it, I thought I got... Did I get? Yeah.
Raise your voices, me trumps. Give me more sail.
No belly riding, no belly riding,
Set her back.
oh belly riding, oh belly riding, master of the throne. Oh belly riding, oh belly riding.
We're catching the wind.
The entirety of Rome or weight, which would be very toward of land spanning from Roman Egypt all the way to more like it's an it has the city of Rome, but something displaced all like from the timeline where they were guarding Egypt and all of those countries back then. Every Roman soldier was displaced, taken out of their slots into this vast island on the coast. Let's say east of England, between England and Denmark or Norway, and it just appears they're obviously Romans confused of why they're here, as if they were just doing their regular stuff, like you're working, guarding, recently fighting, and all just displaced into this timeline. Because I'm trying to think that would, because the idea of the book is that it's, well, the thing I'm trying to write is I want to make a similar, not fantastical sense in that, you know, they get teleported out of their timeline. Every single active Roman soldier and Roman supporter and civilian, well, maybe not civilians, just Roman, anyone that can be a good foot soldier. Well, actually, maybe Roman civilians too, because it would add more interestingly moral ground, and an island probably big enough to hold all of what's existing of the Roman Empire on the coast between Norway and England. Because then I can, once I can set a foothold for the Empire of Rome, I can then think about why they would fight the British Empire, because they're close. The island, which is like, let's say, 50 miles from the coasts of let's say, where Scotland and England connects. quickly would want to defend. Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, because I guess historians existed in the 18th century, they would be very confused why there's Roman soldiers at the end of their, wearing the distinct armor that was seen before their, and their demise at the fall of Rome. And of course the emperor would join them. Obviously, like I'm trying to think, the island would contain like all of Rome and its surroundings, and it would displace all those people in that island. And its ships, its equipment as well, ships, horses, like I'm talking about everything that was active or in use during their time. Like some god-like being for, what if I just snap my fingers and make every equipment Roman soldier teleport to this? I mean, it's not going to be that, because it's going to be more very complex. There's be a reason why they got got displaced out of time, and I'm still learning fingers around that. But once they have somehow greater got in the hands of muskets and learned the technology to make it. I think at the first early days, or maybe early year or weeks, once they realize England is not a, once they want to, I mean, they still got that conquering energy in them. The Romans will not want to ally. They probably allied, I don't know, but I feel like that's why they were very ruthless in their conquership. I could have gone Julius Caesar, because then they'll be very but what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to get the best of the Roman army before they were weakened, and trying to make them sense why they would continue conquering even if they were in their wrong timeline, to force the British Empire to fight back. Maybe the Norways and Denmark, but I feel like because the island will be close enough, 50 miles from England, they'll be like, oh, this island's far close to us. Let's go for that first, and then England will retaliate, and probably maybe a year after the battle, the Romans will think they have advanced weaponry, and they will start learning how to use those and start learning from their enemies, and eventually start importing, front line infantry combat muskets. And might even upgrade their armor. They might not even remove their armor. They might even use the materials that existed in the 18th century to make better armor. Like maintain the same Roman armor, but like withstand musket shots. Exactly. The island will withstand maybe their time for probably a year before they realize they need to expand, because they got probably how many Romans exist, like over like millions by then, probably by the millions. So they would need to, conquer. And I will say it will eventually succeed. They will gain land in England, because I do think they would fail in the first maybe couple of months in trying to attack England. England would fight back with ships, and they would be overwhelmed. And then the Romans will start running start going like, that we have probably a couple of months before food is completely gone and resources is dwindled, so they will do a whole like D-Day type scenario. Like they would send every soldier and risk losing the island if the British counterattack. So they would they would go for like probably the top of Scotland, maybe between the Scotland border and England, and start swarming in, learning the new British tactics. The hell was that? They will still. I think they will keep the horse cavalry, and they'll keep using their old tactics, but they might improve those tactics. Like they might do the shields, and they might not do that. They might realize the shields are obsolete in the first like couple of months until they start, changing the shields, and then they can redo their shield formations in a new way. I can see them adapt. I can see them like, instead of like javelins, it's muskets within the shields. Like the shields are like ironclads, but not ironclad. Like I don't know. They find a way to withstand. Because the shields were good against archers, so I think they would learn to maybe use that tactic against them. Shield, instead of javelins, is muskets.
Get them aloft. Let's go.
Get on that main seat. Trim too.
Ease her off. Give everything she's got. Calm her down.
I need a fire coming.
All right, Jack. Sing. Well sung, lads. Me thanks.
I do think, though, that I mean, I just realized the Spanish, they had muskets and armor. I mean, obviously those were very primitive muskets that would self-combust, causing, damage to their hands, ripping hands off, and... But I'm thinking the Spanish had armor with muskets. Renaissance era. Or was that armor obsolete and they just thought it was good? Because they might have stopped doing... Huh. Interesting. Trying to think because I believe the Romans will keep their armor for melee close combat because that armor probably would stand melee attacks better than the muskets. And I think they will still wear their armor even with the muskets they use as infantry lines when they adapt to that sort of warfare. Might even adapt to the dragoon warfare as well too, like, you know, riding horseback with a musket, which I think would be interesting. They might even start upgrading this. They might even use their old ships or start stealing British ships and start using them against them. I mean, they will. The idea is they will also steal equipment. Like, they might not even make equipment, but steal equipment from the British. Like, you know, cannons, mortars, all sorts. Maybe the sabers, but I think they would be like, this stuff is so advanced to us that we would want to steal it in the land. Like, okay, maybe there'd be misfires and fail handling on the guns. That's normal, I guess, but that's the idea I want to go with. Like, you know, the Romans, like, oh, we're freaking. These guys are like advanced than us, so it's time we turn the tables. Probably lose like what, 60,000 Romans, 200,000 Romans in the first couple months of the beginning war, and the tide starts changing when the Romans start adapting quickly and start stealing. They will probably even do like piracy stuff, like start plundering the shores of England or maybe Denmark. Who knows? Or Iceland, or they might even take Iceland or Greenland. If they can't take England, they'll probably start doing things to try and get a foothold somewhere and try and make. I mean, they'll try and make Roman fortresses, which won't work for the last, you know, for the first probably year once they start establishing trade routes, which they'll probably start trade routes. I'm thinking they would start communicating with the other world, like probably Italy, and I bet you the Italians would be crazy. They'd be like, "Oh my god, are those Romans?" So my idea would be the Italians would probably want to ally with the extinct Roman Empire, maybe, or any country that's freaking obsessed with their Roman history. We want to ally with them because I'm thinking if they were to succeed in this battle, they would have an alliance with Italy or Spain or anyone that is interested in helping them, and they might change the tide of war because then you're dealing with like the nation that is just focused on melee and musket fire, and then the Rome's just melee cavalry, melee more javelins, arrows, spears, and maybe they've already learnt their new musket tactics. But combining those two together is a pretty like very useful, I think. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to say that they would bribe them for Roman citizenship, but remember that it's the 18th century, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, because um because
Not far now, Captain.
Maybe they're
Say something
fine.
else.
I don't know. They could probably maybe it work because of industrial area, and there was a lot of
Cannons!
but
Royals!
also
Fell!
they'd be confused of why they're being given Roman citizenship. Like, do they want to live on this giant Roman island with the original city intact from that era? They'll be, I mean, obviously they'll advance and change Rome. Instead of wearing those, cloth, they'll start wearing the new 18th century. But it'll probably take a while before they start reverting to colonial clothes. So I don't think people working in industry will be like, I want to live in Rome. That's like you have to take. That's like, I want to live in this century. I mean, it might work for some, like like plantation and that. Like they might even liberate plantations. Like the Romans might even liberate that, but they will also then turn that against. They would also then do the same thing. It's kind of contradicting. They would just make their own plantation. Not liberate it. Liberate it from the British, but then take over it. Because there's a lot of things they could. Oh no, plantations were more in the Caribbean than they were in the we say under new management. It's like that meme with Megamind. You come to save us, Titan. Titan. Nah. I'll say you're under new management. Huh? I don't know how. I think I said it wrong, but you get the idea. And then he flings him across the fucking road. Titan, he's here to save us. Save you? Nah, you're under new management. God damn it. No, I can imagine. So the Romans, let's say by the 5th year of the war, the Romans have adapted and advanced the infantry, the musket line fire, and they're still wearing their armor, but it's improved a bit. Like probably it could withstand a musket bullet. Yeah, there's a bit of bruising after getting hit, but it's probably better. Because I feel like there's material that could withstand, maybe not metal, maybe like, ooh, they probably, I feel like
Some sail. We move.
England has materials, or Norway has materials for better armor.
Ease up.
If not, I still see them wearing armor in those infantry lines. And they still have their main, their swords as like shielded. So when they reload and they see the enemy charging, they can go full on melee and yeah. Factories were living an awful lives, like total 9 to 5 bakeries. People would have not even blinked when given it. True. Very true. True, they could. What a bribery and what a change. Just words, and then once they go to Rome, they're just being sent to, and they just sent to their own factories. Wait, you said we'll live a better life. Yeah, under new management. God damn it. Or maybe the Romans, because I think by then the Romans were trying to, because the Romans were misplaced in that time era, were trying to solve, or they were trying to not solve, try and stop. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of incoherent inconsistencies. feel like they would. I don't know. It's a lot to research about because the Romans. I mean, no one's good or evil. There's bad and there's bad and there's bad and there's wrong and there's wrong. There's good and there's good. So I'm trying to think. The Romans back then were trying to be more like they learned from their lessons, but weren't too late because the barbarians were still. Ah. I do see they will have to start allying with the nations they're in. Probably Italy or maybe the Americans because they recently just had a war with England. Maybe France if the war hadn't stopped by then. But the end goal is that there is a victor, and funny enough, the victor would be the Romans. Now, it's gonna take a while before they defeat England, but there's a lot of factors that play, and
Raise your voices, me trumps!
it'll eventually lead to Rome taking England. But there needs to be like, like how do they take England? What leads to their demise? How do they defeat the British Empire, the East Indies British Empire, and they defeat the East Indies and the African British Empire there as well too, because they think they have soldiers. I would say if the idea to take England, but then the British Empire still exists, but they exist as like, well, whatever's left of them, they will have to stay there because England's been taken. They might even get recalled by their king, like, oh, we need all soldiers at hands in England where we need everyone. So maybe they'll do that, and the fall of England happens. But the whole point is the Roman Empire does succeed. Might take 15 years, 10 years, but they do take England, and it changes the world. Yeah. There's more to it, but the premise is the Roman Empire does succeed. With many casualties, maybe less, I don't know, but there's a lot. Well, today's CEO is for that, yeah.
Strong winds! Shall we take
Reef main, scout
From
topsail!
off the wind, my boys! Ease her! Bring ship to anchor!
Enough, thanks!
You see, I think the victory would be alliance. Like, I think the Romans would still, like, they would be constantly, like, at war. But I think they would eventually come to a mind like, yes, we need more nations to help us. Nations that have a, low tolerance with England. And I think Italy or... I would assume Italy would be like the first ones because they're like, oh, it's our ancestors. They're here. Let's help them. Having America help might be a thing, but then again, America wanted to be independent, and I don't think they would probably help. They're more they're in the Caribbean area, so I don't think they would have probably send soldiers to help. But I think maybe the Italians, they'll probably send ships of like infantry lines and many men to Rome, like the new Rome, the old Rome, and probably station there and then help take over England. But I think it's gonna be I'm not gonna do like this fucking Marvel stories like this guy here just went into London and killed the king and England surrendered. The end. What? No, no.
Catch me some wind.
Like that's like
We're
a cheap
stranded now.
ending.
What's the keel line?
Oh, they sent a Roman assassin,
Give everything she's got.
a Roman hitman or assassin into England, London, found the king and killed him, and England surrendered. Yeah, no.
Well sung, lads.
I mean, England wouldn't surrendered, but still, like. True, but I feel like the city of Rome, or the 18th century Rome, would have been very different built. Like a lot of structures changed and buildings left. Then again, the Romans do not stop at conquering, even if it's been because they were still trying to conquer near the end of their lifetime. So even if they will succeed in Britain, they will. The idea is to be left ambiguous, like see if Rome would maintain its peace in that world or not. And I think I want that to be like no, or not ambiguous, like will actually Rome this time. Well, no, the Rome, no. The idea is I want the emperor of Rome and the Romans know about their past, their history, about what happened to Rome. That they were killed by barbarians of all, Italians and that, because they kept conquering. And I want the ending to be ambiguous. Like, will they continue conquering after defeating England, or will they maintain peace this time? Like, will they learn from their mistakes? Because obviously they haven't. I want to be like they take London, kill the king, or do. Probably do more than kill the king. Maybe get him to surrender. Maybe more. But I want them to like find libraries or history sites or museums that exist in the colonial era that or a point where there's like an epilogue where the main character of the Roman the main general character or emperor reads about their past and their fall of Rome. And learns that the cause was because they conquered so much that they couldn't control all of it. And I wanted to end like, would they learn from their past? Or will they continue to conquer after defeating the British Empire? I guess that they get given what happened in the past. Will they learn or will they not? Because they haven't before they had got to a library or a museum because they're constantly fighting England. Once they start learning about their past, like near the end of the story, or the main emperor does, or I guess the main character would the ambiguous ending be like, would they learn from their past, or would they continue to conquer and this new lands? And that, yeah, like pretty much learning from their demise. Their historical demise. I like how I talk and I'm going in circles because I'm not even focused. Maybe they learn the mistakes of what their originals did. Like, they learn what happened, what caused the fall of Rome, and learn to fix it, or, as the biggest thing you say, would they learn it, or will they continue as they were doing before they got displaced in time? That ending is for Rome, but there's a more like ending to why they were displaced. Maybe it's the ending because it was to teach them a lesson. But there's more to it, and it's quite cool, I think. Because I think that would be very interesting if the Romans managed to I don't know. There is some sort of like the explaining of how they got there and not the
Up the
explaining. Like
shrouds, lads.
it's
We
just more
sail.
like something wants them to learn. I don't know.
Ease up. Speed, lads. Calm her down. Haul up the royal.
The lever. I don't know. I just think it could be very interesting. I have a lot to research and a lot to bind, but it's very like, will they learn? It's all about, will Rome? It's like Rome giving a second chance. Obviously, they don't learn at the start because they're still, they're like, oh, this island here, we need to conquer. Why are we here? We don't know, but we need supplies, we need food. But near the end of the story, they start learning about their official demise. And will they take that into consideration, or will they conquer the next land they see or learn about? Or they probably have learned about, but would it be like, do we need more? Oh, and by then the Romans have probably adapted to the new industrial and colonization era. By then they would have start changing their clothes, maybe start removing armor. They're like, they're obsolete now. Or maybe they'll continue wearing the armor and then updating them and saying that this armor is useful. Who knows? Story is
Get them aloft. Let's go. Ease up.
a lot of it. But that's why I've been researching a bit for a couple of weeks.
Clue up the foremost.
And I was like, there has to be
Strong. Take in some sail.
There has
Let's
to be
save
like
some for later.
a compromise in warfare between Rome and Britain. Like, I think they would succeed in battle, the Romans. Yeah, they'll lose a lot of men, the musket fire, but adaptability, evolution to the art of warfare. But it's like I actually said the right. It's like I knew you were. It'd be like It'd be like the war for the Zulus. The British did that. I don't. It's what confuses me about the Zulu War is that they still kept using shields and spears and I guess make up javelins, but they wouldn't adapt to having stolen British equipment. Would they even have the ability to steal? Like, I would have thought the tribe would have like, oh, they're using weapons that are very advanced to us. We should probably start using them against them as well too. I can't remember if they did use that or they just kept continuing with their barbaric ones. Watching rest, yes, except Rome very quickly runs. And, yeah. I guess if you're a tribe, you hold on to traditions more, and Rome would adapt really quickly. Yes, they would lose the first couple of battles, like infantry lines of many Romans and shields, and all they see is infantry lines of British, and they get overwhelmed
Up the
with
shrouds,
musket
lads.
fire,
We
and
sail.
there's like probably 2% left of Roman regiment, legionnaires left, and
Heave her
they
off.
retreat. They're like, yeah, we need to adapt. I think they would learn
Trim
from their
off. Bring
first
in the
few battles.
stunsails.
They'd be like,
More
yeah,
sail. We need to
we
budge.
need to start doing like ambushes or
Shanty.
guerrilla warfare. Because I think they would do that. Because I think
Loose and trim tight.
they would
Ride
start
the
using
wind.
guerrilla warfare, still equipment,
Ease the mains off the
and
wind.
start using piracy to
All right,
also
heave off,
plunder
Jack.
areas.
Captain's gunner!
Exactly. The thing about the muskets, though, learning. Yeah, exactly. They would learn. I mean, while they talking a different, I don't think they would have spoke normal English, but they would have probably funded, literally start doing raids on like industrial factories on the coast and start stealing equipment, maybe schematics on like the making of the musket or information on the musket. Start learning, but I don't know if English, because they were speaking Latin by that time. So they'll have to start learning English. 'Cause that's another thing. I don't think they would not know. There was a language difference. I don't think, because you see in the movie and TV shows they're speaking normal English, but I don't think that was accurate. I didn't think they spoke English. Interesting. Scorpio Ascos. Yes. Because obviously they can't, at the start they wouldn't be able to hold their own until they adapt to the British Empire's tactics or the colonization tactics, colonial tactics. So they would start, guerrilla warfare tactics, ambushes, uh, plundering piracy sites, stealing things, pretty much changing the tide for them. And it does actually change. I would assume it, because I want them to win, so they would get to a point where they actually have the ability to actually now face the British Empire front on, but in a new way. Same their tactics, but also a bit modified with their Roman tactics. So it's like their uniqueness. But yeah, Hannibal, by using Hannibal's own tactics. Yes. That's what I was thinking. I think I searched all this. So now, the fort is next. Also, yes, it would be vastly different, but as that of the words from Latin are used still use modern language, so they would have overlap enough to yeah, okay. Eventually, obviously, the Romans would then get used to more of the English speaking than their original language. Eventually, like by the end of the war, they would have by the end of the war, they would have learned more. Romans would have learned English, and then I'll probably do like 5 years later, and it's like they've evolved to the colonial era, and they've all learned English by then. And the Rome on that island, has also changed a lot as well. And that's when they I don't know, because then the ambiguous, and it doesn't. wouldn't make sense because like, oh, so they did learn from their mistakes. So probably say like maybe at the end of the war, they've like 50% of Romans have learned English more by the end of the war, and that's when it leads to the ambiguous ending. But there is thinking of I don't know. I was thinking of if they might. Oh yeah, they might even steal galleons, man of wars, frigates. They'll realize their ships are obsolete, and they'll probably start stealing the modernized ships. And I'm thinking they might even add the ramming device to those ships, or to most of the smaller ships, because obviously the Romans
No use wallowing about here.
had ram devices like this and carve ships in half, which I think they would adapt. They might keep their original ships as like, you know, they'll still use them, but once they, I guess, run out of the ships, I don't know, I think they will do something with their ship, but they might even put cannons on their, you know, triarchy ships, or whatever they're called, the
Give everything she's got.
a Roman ship with cannons. Now, wouldn't that be a sight to see?
Ease off.
But
Bring in some
the only
sails.
space they can put the cannons is at the top.
Reef them tight.
At the very top, because I don't think there was space underneath. That was more for the the main crewmen. I think I want to try to do with the trims. I'm gonna call them the trimies, the trimos. I feel like there should be a first battle where there's probably all of those. They're preparing to, you know, siege England, and they get overwhelmed with, you know, all those English ships, and let's say that all of those ships were gone, probably 80%, and they retreat with like. And all those Romans that fell from those ships, dead, drowned, surrendered, captured. But the Romans will quickly react to that and say that their fleet is now officially obsolete. But they would continue using them for piracy raid. You know, like one ship per raid. Like to keep off radar or keep, you know, battles. Like from the major battle, they were like, yeah, we're obsolete, so they'll use those ships to board the coast of England and try and raid. I mean, England will quickly, you know, fight, but, you know, try and protect them, but they will try and raid those areas as fast as possible, because they were like, wait, I don't know, I think there'll be a time between where they'll be like, there's an opening, like, oh yes, so we've just got attacked by Romans. We need to protect our coast right now, and I'm hoping maybe the Romans realize they have literally become obsolete and they need to adapt, and maybe they will succeed in nighttime raids, because they might figure out how to, might even storm ships. I think they might even do that too. Like they'll probably use a rowboat. Have a couple of Legionnaires storm a man of war frigate and use their armor as their protection. I would assume, because it's close quarters, a musket line of 6 men facing towards the captain's will. I'm assuming because they're close quarters-ish. I'm assuming the Romans will use to advantage, use their shields to try and maneuver past a bunch of sailors. I mean, they got armor, so those sailors will have a hard time trying to use their sabers. They might get a couple of kills, but I feel like the Romans will have the advantage in close quarters. Yeah, thanks, Spot. Great answer. You want 3 viewers with that? Huh, interesting. There was a 4th viewer, wasn't online. And then a bot attack. It's weird, like someone... Nah, I'm joking. I just think the bots are stupid. They're stupid! Stupid bots! Oh god. Julie got a ball, la bala mana mama. Julie got a ball, do.
Have you business to contract with me?
Yes. I have a business to contract with you, good sir. Thank you, good sir.
Well concluded.
Yeah, pretty well concluded, I say myself. I got $400. Damn. What are naval contracts? What are naval contracts?
Loose some sail, we move!
Let's get some wind, lads.
Top sail!
Give us a shanty!
Got the wind behind us!
We're rich when we're at home, boys, we're rich when we're at home.
the sea.
I'll take your silver, I'll take your gold, but where would I ever want to grow old? At
Met
home
across the sea.
Calm her down.
We're home, my boys, we're at home.
Up yards, douse topmast sails. Clew up the mains.
Let the anchor go!
Heave to,
See,
lads.
we wish at home, at home, my boys, we at home, we're home. No chair, damn it.
Give me more sail. Set her back.
Come! They're not alone! Come! Think she's a cutter!
Give us a song, lads. Fast as you dare.
Heave him up and away we'll go.
There now,
We'll heave
here
him
we
up
go,
and away
where we go. Hey.
We'll heave him up from down below.
New Vienna. Forgotten.
And if we drown while we are young,
Maybe you, Vienna.
it's better to drown than to wait to be hung.
Up in the mountain.
Of ground ye may, but go ye must. If ye growl too hard, your head they'll bust.
Over the mountain.
Across ye must and her too much. And go below to your old ditty box.
We must tread lightly. These waters are well guarded, sir.
Calm her down.
I know this place. It's where the Spanish would bring their prisoners. The bastards.
Shorten sail! Get off the
Brace yourself!
Fire! Studs out! Let's get moving!
Those gallants and royals!
Fire! Fire! Fire!
Bringing the big guns to bear!
Brace! Fire! 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 Every last scrap of duck on the wind! Reef the topsails and gallants!
I said douse! Douse the fore, hurry!
Bring them in for a steely kiss!
You're free, buddies! Get the hell out of here! Yes, yes, you're free. Go, go, go.
Clues down! Catch some wind! Ease her off! Fire! Brace for impact! Fire! Goes the gallant's ready!
Square away! Lay anchor!
Up the shrouds, lads! We sail! Give me every inch of sail!
Let fall! Sheet ho!
Haul up the royals! Fire! Fire! Fire!
Ship's moored, Captain! We don't say yet, lad! Finish them off! And strike!
Your last mistake, mate!
We don't say yet, lad! Finish them off! When I'm captain about!
Always a good scrap when I'm captain about. Come on!
Yeah, surrender.
Solo soy un pobre hombre, no quiero morir.
resolveremos como amigos.
Vamos, ¿por qué ibas a matar a un pobre hombre como yo?
Okay. I don't have much time. They're coming. Listen, if anyone else is in the dark, if anyone ever finds this, do not talk about your broken animus ego. Don't tell anyone it's weird or cracked or what is showing you. We're being hunted. They're taking people off the street in broad daylight, stuffing them into cars. They're here. God, they're here.
Huh. Interesting.
Me iré y no volverá a verme nunca más. No, por favor, soltaré las armas y lo resolveremos como amigos.
Cowering inside.
Are you the warden of this hovel?
I am the man who will kill you.
It seems I'll enjoy my work double this day. Not quite.